Isak wants Liverpool, Liverpool wants Isak, and there is very little you can do about it. But the desperation that I have seen online today, the nonsense from the likes of TalkSport, again, calling out Liverpool, demonstrating some really weird, absolutely unprofessional, unnecessary nonsense bias. I just think it's an absolute disgrace. There are now fake clips circulating or out of context clips circulating, trying to convince Newcastle fans that Isak is signing a new deal. Their journalists are out there calling people simpletons and stupid and idiots. And this, for me, is massively, I mean this, massively getting out of hand. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing if you haven't done so already. Turn that bell notification button on as well next to the subscribe button. Really important to the channel that you get that done. But look, I want to play you a video to begin with by Ben Jacobs. Let's take a little listen to this together for a moment, okay? Let's take a little listen to what he's got to say here.
In likelihood, Isak will sign a new deal, and potentially quite quickly, like with Morgan Gibbs-White. If they can't solve it, the complexion may change. And that's where, of course, Liverpool are still waiting. They're not just going to pull an offer of the magnitude of 110 million. But something has to happen on the Newcastle United side now to give Liverpool encouragement that they thought they had when they placed the bid. But after seeing how quick and emphatic Newcastle's rebuttal was, Liverpool have decided now that if they are to bid again, it will either come later in the window or it will come at any point in time when Newcastle United Football Club call them.
So the clip there stops. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is this is now circulating, started trending in Newcastle circles, being shared. People were DMing me saying, Terry, have you seen this? Oh my God, he's going to sign a new deal. It's all over. This is ridiculous. This was ages ago, weeks ago. In fact, I'll get you the exact date while I'm looking here. That was taken from a piece of content, 10 days ago, not weeks ago, 10 days ago. I want to be as accurate as possible here. And it was completely and utterly taken out of context. Completely taken out of context. Why, though? This is what I found strange all summer about a certain sector of Newcastle United fans. What is it about their fans and some of their journalists when it comes to spreading false information? I don't even know if this is a saying. This might be from Shakespeare. I don't know. But one doth protest too much, methinks. And that's all that I see going on here. To add insult to injury, there is now a community note. This is what was sent to me. Someone said, Terry, there's already community notes on there. The clip has been taken out of context as an example. And it has been. And this is absolutely getting out of hand in every single which way. Just earlier on this week, you had Luke Edwards from The Telegraph making this post saying, to make this simple for simpletons, there is no chance he will be allowed to leave. That's Isak he's talking about. The board told him he's not for sale. His behaviour has forced them to contemplate the terms of what it would take for them to sell. Those terms are nowhere near being matched. The deadlock will continue. First and foremost, what's crazy is, but you were the journalist, along with other Newcastle journalists, that were telling us what the price would be, what the costs would be, what the minimum expectation, the valuation is. You were telling us that long before the first bid went in. And what's really interesting, it's so obvious what Newcastle's media are doing here, because the Newcastle media outlets have been done up like kippers over this whole story. They only care about pandering to Newcastle fans. So they are now going to paint this picture, this picture that Isak is despicable and nasty and horrible and shouldn't be trusted and is a rat and he has forced this. The journalists and the YouTubers and the personalities online that have discussed this all summer, they have caused this problem. It's a witch hunt. It's a character assassination. The hatred towards Liverpool here, the hatred that's going to be created towards Alexander Isak is going to be unpalatable but the majority of football fans. It really is. And when you read that again, to make it simple for the simpletons, is such a crazy thing for him to say. When you consider that the previous tweet that he was replying to himself to, he says, if Newcastle can sign 2 strikers of suitable quality and Liverpool make a bid of 150 million, there is a chance he could be sold. So here, there's no chance that he'll be allowed to leave. Newcastle are only contemplating the terms because of the player's bad behaviour. But in the previous tweet, as if you find suitable replacements and the bid is matched, the valuation is matched, he will be sold. The main problems are Liverpool have not made it sound like they're going to offer that money. Newcastle do not believe that the two strikers are available on the market. It just don't read right to me. Now, maybe people are going to say I'm dumb. Maybe it's because I'm illiterate. I am dyslexic. Maybe I'm not quite understanding this properly. But I don't believe that honesty is being told here. I don't believe the truth is being told. This is all about setting a narrative that Isak's the bad guy, Isak's horrible, and he shouldn't be trusted in any way, any shape, or any form. And there's something that I am really uncomfortable with, very uncomfortable with when it comes to this. On brighter news, though, let's take a little listen here to what Fabrizio has said about this scenario today as well.
Become a little bit of a saga, a little bit of a soap opera. Where are we with Alexander Isak?
Yeah, this is the saga of the month, basically. We had many this summer, from Gyökeres to all the others, but now we have this one with Isak, and I can tell you that the saga is absolutely still ongoing. So Liverpool want Isak, still want Isak, and Isak still wants to go to Liverpool. So nothing has changed in the desire from both sides. What needs to change for this deal to happen is Newcastle's stance. And at the moment, Newcastle are still looking for a new striker before making a decision on the exit of Alexander Isak. But at the moment, the best news for Liverpool is that the player keeps turning down all the new contract proposals he's receiving from Newcastle, all the approaches from Newcastle, from the management, but also from the manager, Eddie Howe, to maybe change the situation, stay at the club, sign a new contract with a release clause, leave next summer. Isak at the moment is not changing his mind. He wants to go to Liverpool. So let's see what happens in terms of Newcastle recruitment. If they find the new striker, and in that case, they can give the green light to the move for Alexander Isak. What I can guarantee to you is that Liverpool are prepared to make a record bid again for Isak in case Newcastle open doors to this.
So it's still going to be a record bid if they go again. And this is when you listen to what Fabrizio said there. This is where I draw my conclusion with what you've heard from the Newcastle journalists. It's not that Newcastle don't think there's adequate cover. That is Newcastle protecting themselves in case they don't get to sign a player. If they get 2 or 3 more rejections, they would just say, no, we just couldn't find adequate replacements, so he's got to stay. But didn't we tell you, Newcastle fans, he was never for sale? There's such a difference here. There's such a difference in situation. It's not that he isn't for sale. It's that Newcastle haven't been able to land replacements, not because there's a lack of quality, not because they haven't found targets, but they haven't been able to get the deals done with the clubs and more so the players. So what they're now doing is they're basically creating this horrible narrative that Isak's a nasty, horrible, despicable guy, which I've already seen it led to people speaking about career-threatening injuries and how they would feel no sympathy, almost willing that on in many ways. They're trying to create this horrible narrative about him. The only reason they're considering it is because of him. But if they can't find suitable replacements, he's just going to have to stay. It's not about finding suitable replacements. It's about players saying yes to you. And the journalists, in my opinion, are not being truthful and they are not being honest again. I agree with Fabrizio, and I do agree with the Newcastle press as well, that if they don't get a replacement in, they may decide that the player can't leave. That, I've always said it's true, but it's how they're now framing it. It's now how they're looking at it. But we know they're looking at Witter. We know they're looking at Samuel Amarodium. You know they're looking at Nico Jackson. They're deliberating, they're debating with the clubs and players. They're not deliberating amongst themselves as to whether they're good enough. They've started conversations with the potential sellers and the players. As ever, Liverpool being attacked here, Liverpool being dragged through the mud for no real reason whatsoever. Newcastle are now going to do the same thing to other players that they're angry that Liverpool have done with Isak, and that's try and turn their heads. That's try and pay big money for their players. I don't see anything wrong with it personally. But listen, hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. Get that bell notification button turned on. We'll see you all again soon. Peace.